Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Well, we just discussed the battle of titans spilling into public view within the Republican Party, Trump versus McConnell. But let's broaden the discussion now into what both parties are facing as they prepare even now, and they are, for the 2022 midterms and 2024 presidential election. The GOP in disarray, Democrats pushing hard to the left and seeking to milk everything they can out of their sweep of the White House and both chambers of Congress ever so narrowly in 2020. And we've got just the man to analyze it all. LibertyNation.com political columnist Joe Schaeffer. Joe, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate it as always. Now, it seems that beyond the divisions between the so-called Trump and McConnell wings of the party is a deeper problem for the GOP, and that is a dispirited base. As we approach the midterms, what does the party need to do to re-energize its most loyal supporters?
Well, I think to the degree that the base is dispirited is we have congressional elections coming up next year, and most Republican voters find the Republicans in Congress to be useless. When they had the House and the Senate majorities, they did nothing with it. They are largely seen as opposed to President Trump's America First agenda, and President Trump's agenda is driving the grassroots in the Republican Party. So there's this divide between congressional Republicans and the base that has never been addressed. The losing control of the Senate with Georgia, that was two Mitch McConnell type Republicans in Perdue and Kelly Loeffler losing those special elections, those runoffs. And has that been addressed? You have a lot of Republicans running next year that do not excite the base. And that is a huge problem that they're going to have. The thing with the America First base is, where are the candidates? Where are the Trump candidates? There are a lot of veteran Republicans retiring. We need to see, if you're an America First Trump Republican, we need to see those kind of candidates stepping up to the fore, and that will energize the base, I truly believe, give them the kind of candidates that they really want running for Congress.
Now, you've written lately, Joe, about the self-inflicted wounds of a couple of GOP presidential hopefuls, Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, who inexplicably vetoed a transgender bill that was passed overwhelmingly by her own party, and the longtime conservative favorite Ted Cruz, who took, shall we say, an ill-advised vacation. How serious was Noem's transgression compared to Cruz's gaffe, and where does the party now stand, not just for the next presidential race, but in terms of pure leadership?
Yeah, I think Noem was by far the more fatal mistake. And I use the word fatal. I don't see her coming back from this as a presidential candidate. It was not just because of what she did, which was just the old style of politics, playing up to your base, doing favors for your donors. But it was the way that she explained it to the people she angered afterwards. That's what you can't do. You can't say to the conservative voters that you just upset, hey, you don't understand why you're mad at me. That is just, talk about shooting yourself in the foot and then shooting yourself in the other foot. That was such a huge mistake. And I just really don't think she can come back from that. She outed herself in that situation as an old style, old school establishment Republican, when before she had been sitting pretty as this red state, flyover country governor, kind of anti-establishment. And then she's like, oh no, she is the establishment. So she's not coming back from that. The state of the leadership of the party is in flux, and that's why I said we need to see more Donald Trump type candidates, just for the sake of the party, to see, where is this going? Is Mitch McConnell able to hold on to power in Congress? Is he able to call the shots for Republicans on Capitol Hill? Is there ever going to be a true challenge to his authority? The Republicans need to work all this out. And I really think the woke corporate wave we're seeing now is the worst thing for the party, because, again, most Republican voters know the Republicans in Congress care more about their corporate base than they do about the voters. And they clearly see now that these these corporations, these huge companies that the Republican congressmen are doing favors for, are out and out trying to silence them, keeping them from ever winning an election again. So if you're a Republican voter, why would you support these Republicans? It's a big mess. They need to sort this out. And again, if you are in the Republican base, I'd say the only way you can sort this out is get your own type of candidates to run for office. They need to do that.
Now, putting aside that most of his agenda is likely to be adopted by most of the prospective Republican presidential candidates in 2024 if Trump doesn't run, is the GOP, Joe, going forward, in your opinion, better off with or without the person of Donald Trump as the face of the party?
Things remaining the same, Trump being what he is right now, because he is going to be 3 years older in 2024. But as he is right now, he is by far the best option. He's polarizing, but he's insanely popular. And you cannot write off that popularity that I don't think a lot of these other Republicans have. If you go with a Ted Cruz, you're getting that polarization, that unlikability by millions of Americans, but you're not getting that zealous enthusiasm among the base for Ted Cruz. He's just not as popular as Donald Trump is. Even if you like Ted Cruz, you have to admit that he's not Donald Trump in sense of charisma and just what he brings to the table. And I don't see any of these, it's still so early, things can change, but I don't think any of these other Republicans come close. Ron DeSantis right now is the rising star if you're looking for someone outside of Trump. But, he's got a long way to go. He's got to keep the momentum going. He's made some mistakes in the past, but, he's been fantastic since the coronavirus. Everything's gone his way since then. So, if that keeps happening, then yes, he is someone to look out for. But right now, to me, no one comes close to Donald Trump in drawing out that wave of America First Republicans for a presidential election in 2024.
Okay, Joe, so let's switch over to the Democrats now. They lost a surprising number of seats in the House and barely got to a tie and effective control of the Senate. And yet, with those bare majorities, they're talking big about major structural changes, ending the Senate filibuster, packing the court, adding states. Are they misinterpreting their mandate? And what, if any, of these goals are they likely to be able to achieve?
I think if you're a Republican, you're a little bit jealous. Democrats go about trying to enact their agenda. Republicans don't do that. They had the House and the Senate with President Trump in office, and so little was done. It was so sad how little that they were able to get done. And you see Democrats shooting for the moon. If you're a Republican, isn't this what you want out of your party? So I have a hard time criticizing Democrats for going for the whole works. The overreach is in how extreme their agenda is and how off-putting that is. And that is a political mistake with, we're always in election mode. There's always a midterm election or a presidential election right around the corner. And Democrats certainly don't seem to be thinking very much about 2022 right now. And that may come back to harm them. But, the way that they've been doing things, and Joe Biden is the perfect example of this, they're not exactly looking for a popular mandate. They're looking to ram their agenda down the throats of the American people. So, who's to say that they're wrong? They're trying to do this. They're trying to stiff arm the American people. If they do it, if you change these block these electoral integrity laws, you make it so there's mail-in voting, you're constantly getting reelected anyway through these means. Then what's the downside for Democrats? I think being aggressive for their agenda, if you're a Democrat, you got to be ecstatic about that. If you're a Republican, I think you're a little sad that your party isn't the same way.
Well stated, Joe, as only you can. Now, you did something familiar to you recently, which is defying conventional wisdom, in writing that no matter that he'll be 82 years old at the end of this term, Joe Biden may well run again in 2024. Do you think, as some are now saying, that Biden ran as a transitional candidate, but now wants to instead be a transformational president?
Well, I agree with that. And the transformation is what the establishment wants all along. He is their dream president. You don't have to curry favor with the American people with this guy. You don't even have to pretend that he's popular with the American people. He doesn't even communicate with the American people. This is the establishment dream. Completely ignore the American people and go about doing, what the swamp wants to do. So, what are the negatives to Joe Biden? What would make him not run again? There's really nobody bubbling up who's going to be a better candidate in 2024 than an 81-year-old Joe Biden. As sad as that may seem, that's what the Democrats concluded in 2020. I don't see anything to change that in 2024 right now. Something is going to have to really change to prevent that. And what could happen is a disaster in the 2022 midterm elections. That is what can change the whole game. So that is the big thing with Biden. If he avoids a disaster in 2022, I don't see anybody else bubbling up to the surface to challenge him within that party.
Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Mark Angelides, Sarah Cowgill, Tim Donner, and Scott Cosenza, and this is Liberty Nation.
Now let's take a look at the LibertyNation.com electoral leaderboard. It's still 238 for Joe Biden.
What if stories and legends can offer us the key to unraveling the hottest political issues of the day and apply their lessons to understanding the chaos of modern politics?
Impeach 45!
Only where freedom of speech is honored can people who look, sound, or think differently be truly free.
If you're discussing something that's difficult, the probability that you're not going to offend each other is zero.
President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump is now president.
With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
LibertyNation.com